Right, we are live. Welcome everybody. It is Friday. Hopefully everyone is having a great day. I know I am. Hopefully everyone had a good week. Hopefully everyone has some maybe some plans for this weekend. You know, some time to value, some relaxing, just something to enjoy, right? Morning, Patrick. Morning, Dad. Um, just gonna post this real quick and we're in business. So let's get started. I wanted to go over a couple of things right here on the ES before we get started, just so we can kind of take a peek at some things that I was thinking. And I was making the trade view last night and then ended up falling asleep, so I didn't post it. So sorry. But one thing I wanted to show you guys is a little bit easier to see on a bar chart without the real quick. Okay, so so this is the interesting thing, and I think this is why the market is struggling so much to go up, right? So here we took the elevator up, right? There's a stair there, and then a stair at the top, but then we took the stairs down for a little bit, right? Took the stairs down for a little bit, and then we took stairs up, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's the escalator down. So we were kind of wondering when this escalator down was going to happen, but when we're doing this, right, what happens is when you see stairs on the way down, Whisper, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Trin, good morning. But so when we're taking the stairs down, typically what that's going to be signifying, right, is going to be the seller moving down, right? We had a balance here, a balance here, a balance here. We looked above balance, failed, and now we're trading below balance, back below. Um, and so we haven't made any significant, moves back down into this lower balance, but a lot of times you'll see stuff like that. So when we have these runs up without is there sound issues? Well, I hope not. Can you guys not hear me? Oh, okay, yeah. Should be good. And then my mic is working on YouTube, so hopefully. What's up, Dar? But so when we have stuff like that, that's kind of what you have to look for, and you can kind of see what happened here, right? Like, so we knew that sellers got a little bit too short, right? Um we had these initiated selling at the bottom of balance, but just wasn't enough, right? Wasn't enough people willing to move down from their high horse up here where they're selling to move down to sell this. So we got this kind of response, right? We hit a little staircase and then elevator down, right? Um, and that's bringing us right back to these levels. It's a little bit hard to see on this chart because this chart marks all of our VPOCs and value areas. We're breaking the low right now too, so I'll show you guys. Oh, no, not yet. Yeah, a little fractal here. I'll show you right here. A little bit easier. Actually, I'll just show you. Okay. So this just gives us a little bit broader of a view. Okay, now we can see the market. Tyler Simpson, what's up, my man? And so you can see we're breaking below this balance area, but we still have these solid lows intact. We still have kind of this, this upwards trend, at least off of this March low. So there's a couple scenarios that we're kind of looking for, at least that I'm kind of looking for here, is if we are able to establish a low here and then trade up going into next week and break this high, and then the target would be that high up there. But if we're able to break this high, that would put us in the territory of a higher low, and that would put the all-time high back on the table. right? Uh, it's gonna be different. Um, it's really going to depend on the earnings that are coming out next week, right? We've got Apple, Microsoft, Google, the big guys. We saw Snapchat not do great yesterday. We saw Netflix get clapped. We're seeing some other things get clapped as well, but it's still a scenario. So before we sell the farm and think that everything is crashing, and I've been talking about this since, I mean, December, I think that the pullback was probably going to happen until around this earnings time, and I think there could be a little bit of a pop in earnings. This might have been it too, right? So you've got to be ready for all scenarios. And this is another thing that I want to bring up, why it's so important to zoom out, right? So on the monthly, we can see we're kind of just balancing, right? We're kind of in this right now, a 3-month balance. And so we're not really too, that's not very bearish. A balance is not very bearish, but oftentimes, and this is a market profile rule, or just a market rule, seldomly does the market go from bull to bear, right? The market doesn't typically do that. The market will typically go up, balance, and then either break up out of balance or break down out of balance, and then balance again, and then kind of decide what it wants to do. But not very often does it just go up and then just come straight down like that, right? And so with the market balancing, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that top of balance or that low of balance. And until we get, either side of those, you really just gotta remain patient, right? And then we jump over to the weekly. Um, and something I wanted to show you guys on the weekly, this blue line down here, if it's driving you mental and you can't figure it out, it's just open interest. There goes the low on the ES. Bitcoin's getting a smackarooski today too. Um, but so on the weekly, what I wanted to talk about as well is we've opened up. So here's our current week, right? We took the high out, so we have to make our range like this. When you're thinking about the range on the week, this is the range. So it's a pretty big range, 4,600 to about 4,150. And the reason being is because we took the low and the high of the previous week. So the week before that comes up here. The week before that, the low is down here. And so you have to just assume naturally that that's going to be the new range. Um, I'm doing good, Jay. Thanks. What about May? Like CF used to say, sell in May and go away. Remember when he said that? Remember when he said that? And he's like, sell in May and go away, and then Bitcoin just skyrocketed. And he's like, I sold everything, and then like a month later, he's like, oh, I bought a huge Bitcoin position at 30, or what was it, like 49,000 or something like that. I don't know. He's just full of shit. So I don't pay attention to that. But sell in May and go away, like that's more referring to any of the gains that you've made. So let's say you made some good investments in the beginning of the year. They're up a lot. Now's the time to take a little bit of profit on them, right? Because cyclically, is that how you say the word? Cyclically, the market will tend to slow down and people will start to take profit as the summer comes on. This year is unlike any other year, so I'm not really kind of convinced. I'm not sure I understand. Sneaky bitch. So he's trying to listen to us, guys. Oh yeah, and then the 14th May dropped, yeah, and he was a genius, I remember. Yeah, I mean it's just a cyclical thing. There goes the low. And that's why a lot of people are kind of shocked right now, because typically April's one of the stronger months for the market. How's the stream today? I figured out the quality, so you should be cracking in 1080p if your computer can support it. Um, and you should be on the low latency, like 60 frames per second. You should be hearing everything as soon as I say it. There's almost no delay today. There shouldn't be because I messed with it. But so yeah, so that's how you're gonna be. You're gonna have to consider these in your weekly ranges, right? When you're looking at these ranges, and then you can do the same thing on the daily. We switch to the daily, and then do the same thing. So here's the day, and so then immediately assume that if we're inside the previous day's range, and you can see we kind of have a poor low forming here at this 25. And I said earlier, I think the move down was the 750. Yeah, that was my my watch. My watch is like right under my computer on the charger, and fucking Siri's just over there paying attention. Probably how I keep getting messages about playing music on the channel. But it says no strike, so I can just keep doing it. Hey, Whisper, another thing, also I know that it's kind of annoying sometimes on YouTube to be on your phone because then you can't use your phone. But if you download Twitch, you can look on Twitch, and Twitch you can make like into a little mini box, and so you can still use your phone and listen to the stream at the same time. Just another option, you know, because we're streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But so when we get down here, so there goes, it's gonna, I mean, it's probably gonna break that low. So now that we're getting back to this low, now we're assuming that this range is here, and we have our balance here. So we figure out what level this is, right? And this is 42.2905, and I'm really looking for this 43.0750. That's my target to the downside today. And the reason, oh yeah, Ferdy, or YouTube Premium. I was reading something that said that YouTube was supposed to be doing it soon. Or if you have an Android, you can do it on YouTube. Because I know when I used to have an Android, I would do it. Let me toss the volume back on here. And then let's just look around the market real quick. We can see Apple's down almost 1%, Microsoft down 1%, Google 2.5%, Tesla's about, well, Tesla's 1%, even Berkshire Hathaway's down 1.5%, Facebook down 1.5%. Look at MasterCard and Visa, motherfuckers. That's so annoying, but what can you do, I guess? Ugh. That's so annoying. Bitcoin's coming back down to that 31 or 39, 136 as well, which has been a fairly supportive level around here. We're coming right back to that prior point of control at this 19 or 20 level. We just smack through it right there. This is what this it's a VPOC. Oh, you got premium? Oh shit. Good to go then. I need to get YouTube Premium too, I think. I'm just pretty much always carrying around my iPad, so I just like watch YouTube on my iPad and then still have my phone if I need it. There's a lot of interesting factors coming on here too that are kind of leading us, I mean, pretty much straight to the recession, straight to a recession. The key thing here, you know, I posted yesterday that the 10-year versus the 30-year inverted. Oh, we can look it up on here. Might be. Here's the 10-year and the 2-year, and so you can see this one's not inverted. It did invert, but it uninverted, and it was only inverted for like a day. And this is kind of the measurement that everybody uses for sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, you got it. Oh, 3 months free. Nice. For the music, that's a good idea. Volume's still coming in down here. What's interesting though is the selling is not as hard as it was yesterday. At least it doesn't appear to be. Oh, never mind. Here's the breath. So yeah, pretty bad actually. 4 to 6 to 1, or 4.6 to 1. It's just if you look here and see how bad the selling got yesterday, we're still kind of moving towards that. yesterday the weighted sectors let us down. Right now the overall market's kind of leading us down. So if the heavy sectors like tech, maybe some financials start to get some green, this thing could pop up. If you take a peek at the VIX too, VIX is heading on up. It's up about 11% today. So, and bonds are also up, not by much, so, but they have kind of bounced off the bottom, and that's actually a good thing. But so with this 10-year based off of history, especially if we put this like on a monthly, that oh, that's the 200-day moving. Okay. You can see like based off of history. So here is, where's the 2000? So here we crossed below for 2000, but you can see we stayed below for a while. So this is, where's the zero level? Here's zero. That's January 1st, 2000. We don't come back above zero until February 1st. We're under for a month. We were under for a day this time. And then, you know, the market after 2001 went down, the yield curve went up. And so that's kind of what I'm watching is I'm watching this yield curve, and I think that, you know, we have, look, here's this, and then look, 07 it inverts. We know the 09 crash. It didn't invert in it inverted in 2019 just barely, and we had that kind of flash crash in 2019 or in 2020, I mean, the COVID. Oh yeah, without the ads and stuff. That's a good idea. What's up, Tommy? Oh, you're stuck at work today? Yeah, we are. We're having a good Friday. And hopefully everybody killed it. That is true. And you know, so and if we go back in history, oh, this thing only goes back to 77. You can see a lot of times it's spent a lot more time below. I don't know if they have the 10-year against the 30-year on here. I was looking for it on Fred charts last night too, but I couldn't find it on there either. I just saw somebody post it on Twitter that I trust. Mortgage rates are getting out of fucking control too. They're up above 5%. Not great. It's not great unless housing prices start to come down. Then it's really not that big of a deal. But we've got, you know, got some interesting news on the Fed funds. Oh damn, where's the Fed funds rate? I think it's on investing. Fed fund tool. There it is. So next week, or a week and 5 days, 2 hours and 11 minutes until the interest rate decision is going to be May 4th. You're looking at probabilities. Look at this. The current probability of a 3/4 to 1 point rate hike is 100%. So you wonder why the market's coming down. This is why, right? Yesterday was 99. The market came down. So they're pricing in a 3/4% rate hike for May. If we look at June, you know, still looking the same here. You can see September pricing in 1.5. December 2.25. So you're seeing what you're seeing right here is they're pricing in a big move, or a big rate hike. But then it starts to slow down as the year goes on because this thing's only pricing in about 2.5 points by the end of the year. This is December. You can see 2 to 2.5 points, which is kind of the target. 2.25 is the target I think that Powell's talking about. So it's interesting with this going up. And then if we pop over to here, Z, was it N? Or was it CF? Oh, what is it? There it is. Remember, we were looking at this for a while. Let me just put it back on the daily. Um, and we had talked about this, right? That if the market, this is a little while ago when we were talking about it, that it was flattening out, and that's good for the market. And for the market to keep going up, we want to see this Fed funds rate start to go up. But we've had this gap down, and the market started to come down a little bit lately. So it's kind of an interesting aspect going on in the economy right now. And then if we look at, all right, we're just gonna keep looking at shit because I want you guys to see all the shit that I see. If we look at the DAX, the FDAX futures, you can see from the beginning of the year, they're down a little bit, but not so if we go just from the all-time high, about 13%. Um how do you, what's the footsie called? How do you spell it? What's the English market figure for it? FTSE, there we go. And you can see, oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Oh no, that's it, the FTSE 100. You can see the FTSE 100 is on the high. But if look, I want to, yeah, there it is. Let me find it on I'll find it on TD. Uh, but there is another. Oh yeah. So yen futures just, falling off of a cliff, not great. And we wanted to look at the euro futures getting just absolutely smacked. Dollar futures just winning all the time. And so this is kind of what we've been talking about, these three futures. If the dollar starts to roll over and it's at a point of resistance, if we look at it, right, there's the high, a recent high from March. If it starts, or is this January? No, it's March. It was March. Yeah, it was March. If it starts to roll over, we're almost down at that 37.50 now, or 43.07.50. If the dollar starts to roll over, that could be the camel that broke or the straw that broke the camel's back. The UK 100. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, and so you can see the FTSE has recovered very well, and so honestly, I think there might be a lot of opportunity for the downside here. Um, it just makes sense because the DAX is down a good percent, right? The ES is down, the Dow is down. Oh, that's not the right Dow. Here's the Dow, right? The Dow doesn't look as weak, but the Dow doesn't have a lot of tech in it. The Dow has a lot of energy stocks in it and gas. You're praying for downside hard today? I mean, you should be pretty happy. We're down pretty good. About, what are we down? Gotta be over 1%, almost 2% down. Oh, okay, from now.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the downside is still has space for sure. How's AMD doing today? What didn't save my
It's pretty much break even right now. It's 0.0 or 0.1% down.
Oh, okay. Netflix is down another 2.5%. Terrible. I don't know. I think Facebook is going to get just absolutely just smacked during their earnings. Look at this. I mean, they're breaking the low, but I mean, it's tough to get short at the low, right? It's just a tough thing to do. But this, to me, looks a lot like this. Like there's the gap, there's this bullshit, and then there's another gap right on earnings. So if we go back to Facebook, where's earnings at? 27 April. What are we doing? I mean, it looks the same. And it's remember that we know how psychological the markets are. So when we have things like this that show us kind of the clues or the at the what to expect, and we can even look at Snapchat too. You're getting a similar pattern, a gap down. I mean, they didn't have as bad of a go, but they're having that same pattern, right? The same kind of getting to that breaking point where if they don't figure something out, the break is going to come. If we take a peek at some of the stronger stocks, right? Apple looks a little bit stronger. Tesla, I think, is under 1,000 today, or it's back up above 1,000 now. It did crack under 1,000. It's not as weak. But if you look at Amazon, right? Amazon looks pretty weak. You look at Google, just getting absolutely massacred. Microsoft getting to that kind of same breaking point. There's the gap right there. It didn't fill the gap. You can see where we shorted it. Well, should have shorted it. Um,
Isn't Apple like edging down consistently?
Apple is, yeah, just slowly though. It's just like I think if there is a crash, a flash crash, Apple would probably be the safest bet um to stick some money in on a crash. I don't think we're at levels right now where you're really wanting to be putting in, and I know there's a lot of bad information out, and really when Powell comes out and he says, okay, we're only going to raise the base, we're only going to raise, basis points so far. He can just save the market kind of, right? He'd be like, oh, we're only going to do a 0.25% rate hike. And then everyone's like, fucking risk back on. But right now, with all of this information, and, we're still having these, huge breakups in corn. I mean, corn's pulling back a little bit today, but still way up. Wheat futures is still way up. Um, this soybean is what my next move is in. I think this is the next thing to break out. Soybeans are cheaper to harvest than corn, and they produce a lot of the same things. The big thing with corn is that it goes into gasoline, so it's a little, or that's what Biden was talking about, putting it in gasoline to ruin cars in America, just to save Europe. It's kind of a interesting situation. And it's almost like a force to get an electric car unless you want to put shit gas inside your car.
Isn't it also because they have so many people making corn that they just have so many reasons to keep facilitating farmers farming it?
Well, so that is the
I mean,
rabbit
that's how
hole
it
that
started from
I
World War. I mean, that's all stems back from World War II, though.
exactly, and that's how I got down that rabbit hole. Is I started at World War II. So in World War II, before World War II, we saw a contraction of the market to basically prepare for it, and then all of this, you know, basically America went back to the industrial age. Like everyone's like, we're gonna build factories and we need to make our own shit, which is what we need to do in the United States in order to figure it out, because the supply chain issues, the reason that they're causing such a big issue is because we don't build anything here. And when consumer demand is still strong like it is right now, those farmers that had been planting corn had not planted as much corn because there wasn't as much demand last year or the year before in COVID. So this year they actually underplanted. But with soybeans, and I think a lot of farmers might switch to soybeans, they offer a similar price range, but soybeans release nitrates into the soil, making them easier to grow in abundance, I guess, and it makes it easier to regrow them. Whereas corn kind of just, I mean, if you guys have ever been into a cornfield, the ground is turns into rock because that corn stalk just sucks all the nutrients out of the ground. Well, apparently soybean releases nitrates back into the ground, which makes the soil a little bit easier. And then that ties into the manure shortage that there is, or fertilizer, I guess you call it, a fertilizer issue. So there's kind of I think that soybeans might be the next opportunity for a big move to the upside. And we were able to catch the corn one, which was really cool. And then we'll just have to stay tuned for some good opportunity on soybeans. But yeah, and so I was thinking that same thing is with when World War II kind of started to kick off, we really contracted, or kind of did like a little turtle, right? We pulled our arms and our head back inside of our shell and got back to like what our core was, and where we're strong at. And where we're strong at is that manufacturing. We are a leader. We used to be a leader of manufacturing, and then we started outsourcing everything. Well, if you see, especially if we look on a map, right? Bring it up. Good picture. Can't find a. Oh, here's a decent one. Kind of interesting. Can I make this bigger? Here we go, back to that 4307. This is the old Fed move. Let me look for some levels below before we ready to just massacre this. Okay. Okay, so we have our balance point of control at 4,300 below, and then we start to break down these previous highs down at 4,290, 4,281, 4,273. So that's where you could probably see some responsive buying from that 4,275 to that 4,300. So if you're not short, it's a little bit late to be getting short, but there still is room to the downside. It's just really going to depend on how much effort these sellers are willing to put in, and then also how much panic is happening overall the market, right? And we saw most of the market. Your two favorite boxers? Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about that yesterday. I can't wait to see that match too. I didn't even know it was tomorrow. I thought it was until next month. Yeah, I like the gypsy, an animal. But here's a decent picture of it. You can kind of see the just how complicated the global supply chain is. That's really what I'm trying to express, is that this global supply chain is a complicated spot, right? And so we know that the issue right now is that China was closed, so they weren't accepting any of these they weren't unloading any of these ships, and so they were having the same issue that we were having, where we had all these ships outside of LA. Well, what happens is you get all these ships, and then these docks, especially because like 60% of our imports come through LA, you get a bottleneck. And so that's what's happening in China, and China's got to make all of our shit and then ship it back, or ship it all over to the world, not just the US, but they make a lot of products, ship them all out to the world, and then you're starting to get a little bit of backlog everywhere. And so the only way to combat that, I'm thinking, is if America starts to go back into that industrial age where they start to build factories and start to make products here. And, you know, honestly, I really do still think that if the United States was smart, that they would try to figure out a way to make it work with Russia if they want, you know, cheaper products and people want to keep living how they're living now. If not, shit is going to change going forward, guys. I know I'm not talking like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but there's a there's a good opportunity for stuff to change drastically, and we just, you know, really just got to be prepared for it. That's really all we can do. There's no like I'm not making a prediction. It's just based off of history. In history, this is kind of the tale that it's taken. And then going back all the way to the beginning of the stream when we talked about that yield curve inversion, even though it was only inverted for one day, a lot of people are saying don't worry about it. Well, they said the same thing in 2019. It only inverted for a month, and they're like, I wouldn't worry about it. And then boom, 2020 happened, right? And they say it was because of the pandemic, but I mean, we got a blip in 2019. Also, if you look at the ES in 2019, so here's 2020. In 2019, they still got, I mean, this this push down here, which was, you know, 8%. That's still, I mean, 8% is a pretty decent amount to come down, right? Nothing compared to COVID, but you think about now, right, as of right now, today, from the all-time high, we're down about 10% on the market. And if we pull up something to look at, you know, at least from yesterday's kind of heat map year to date, I mean, you're seeing a lot of these big names down quite a bit, right? Not ideal for an economy that's going to be booming. And that's why I think, you know, there's going to be a reorganization of the S&P. There'll be some weighted changes and stuff because a lot of the money is going to start flowing out of them. And, you know, possibility, something that I've really been looking at, we go to the monthly and then start looking at some of these tech stocks. Let's see, what's one that I'm sure? Wayfair. You know, I mean, this was inevitable, right? They had this kind of meteoric rise, just kept buying puts and kept buying puts and kept buying puts, and it's just getting smacked more and more every single day, right? Because it's just not sustainable. This is something that got the pop from COVID because the demand got so high. But what I want you to think about is think about the things that people need versus the things that people want. Wayfair sells, you know, bullshit, supposedly little kids with pillows and shit. You know, there's that huge scandal. But what's another one that people just wanted but don't really need that happened during COVID? What? Hang on, Jared just sent me something. I gotta watch this real quick. The video. How do I send it to my email? Yeah. What's another one that we Peloton? Yeah. Oops. Can't type. Peloton. Right, same idea. They got this huge COVID pump, and now they're coming back to reality. So I can only imagine that some of these stocks like Apple, I mean, Apple's a strong company, but you've got to think about the demand that came into the market, and if that demand doesn't sustain, which it doesn't seem sustainable, and it seemed like it seemed like just a backlog, right? It was kind of like the supply chain. Well, what happens when a supply chain bottlenecks? It just once you get through traffic, right? Think about traffic. So you're in traffic, all of a sudden the highway opens up, the lanes open up, boom, you no traffic anymore. But now we're running into traffic again, right? And so which way are we going to break out of traffic? And Apple, we know, has been, the stronger of the strong. If it doesn't continue to be strong, well, we kind of just can assume what can happen. Bitcoin coming down right to our level. I'm not a buyer right here, right at this point in time. What's the deal here? What the fuck isn't working? Purge all this stuff. Compute. Oops. Jared's 47 hour and 47 minutes. So Jared and I were playing Fortnite the other day, and we got killed by 2 pro gamers, which is kind of funny. Trying to find the clip of it so we can see.
And we actually like have a chance to fire back.
I'll block this. Oh yeah, look, here it is. Watch this. This is kind of funny. I'll just play the volume because I don't give a shit.
He's got a decent shot.
Ooh, Jared got a decent shot. That was Jared that just lasered this guy.
I broke one of their.
12.
You hit him for what?
12.
Okay, that's good.
Ooh,
One knock.
Bitcoin Brad TTV just got fucking
Bitcoin Brad
smacked.
GTV.
Just kind of
teammate.
funny.
Oh my god.
And it was
I'm
Ninja
assuming he was looking
and
at me and you
Purge
just point
JD.
blank.
Kind of funny. Big L though, got smacked online hard, but at least it was by some people that were good. So we came back down to that previous Fed move, and we're not really finding any sellers underneath of it yet, right? We're seeing only 15 contracts traded on the low. At least on my screen it says 15. This says 2. It's keep mashing them together. Yeah, Freddie, we got smacked. I don't play the game that much. All right. I gotta send it to her. It was funny too because when it happened, we got smacked, and Jared's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna be in a highlight reel." Oh damn, he sure was. And we've always talked about because Jared thinks he's so fucking good at Fortnite. I'm always like, Ninja would clap you, and Ninja's not even that good. And then boom, it happened. Yeah, it's their job exactly. Yeah, they play. I mean, they probably play that game more than I'm on charts. To be honest with you, I would put money on that. That game. I mean, the new version where there's no building is actually kind of fun and doesn't require as much uh skill. I don't think it requires just a different set of skills. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure that that game Fortnite is such a complicated game that it's just I mean, there's just so many factors. Those kids that are professional Fortnite players that win tournaments and stuff, they play probably 10 hours a day. I'd wager, if not more. I just thought that was kind of cool. So now we are sideways, it seems. Yeah, so we're just not getting that selling underneath here yet. The key here that we want to monitor for is monitor for this continuation. So we had the open, which opened on a gap down, right? So talk about that real quick. Well, the market's just kind of chilling. Um, so I don't even know if I marked the settle or anything. I didn't do. I didn't get onto this chart yesterday. That's fine. I was tired yesterday for some reason. Probably so tired from pushing the market down all day. But the settle was here. Pretty much overnight inventory is 100% net short. We open up on a small gap, close it, but then just flush almost immediately. And it was actually, it wasn't, I wouldn't even say it was immediate. We came up and we kind of just like sat here for a second, and then it was like plummet. Um, and so we've seen, we have our TPOC, right? All of the time spent right here. We've got these single prints. So as we start to spend more time down here, what we're looking for is that volume to come in lower or to start to accumulate like we have up here, right? So we've got about 18,000 up here. We're looking at about 8,000 right here. And volume is typically going to be less as the day goes on, right? Less people become interested. It is Friday as well. So, there's a lot of other factors coming in. I'm checking on the volume. We're still about 4% higher than yesterday. Did AMD just break?
Hell yeah, it did.
Nice.
Now we just need to get past the earlier day's low, but it broke the low from where it was sort of hanging out.
The AMD is another one of those things too. AMD is like right.
It's butting up against V low. Like it did this earlier where it kind of got close to it, and then it veered away, and then it got close to it again, and then it veered away. So this will be the test, because if it does this one more time, my guess is it'll break V low, but I'm not 100% certain. But I'm banking on it, so that's the that's
Little
the important
bias.
part.
I mean, yeah, it looks one time framing down too. And it has these gaps up above that it didn't fill either. There's just a lot of support right here on AMD. There was a big thing that I watched yesterday. When we watched it on stream yesterday. The
It pushed through. It
AMD
pushed through
did.
V low. Oh, let's see. I guess we'll see if it pulls back in this candle. Anyway, sorry.
Oh wait, no,
You do
you're
your thing.
good. It looks like it's ready to break. Yeah, it does not look strong at all. But yeah, that thing that we watched yesterday, Taiwan was, or the lady from Taiwan was kind of saying, that she what's it called, these like strong strong things going forward. So a little bit of a bounce here. So let's see how the market acts right here. We're getting into this thin volume. What you're looking for on a backfill like this of these single prints is you're looking for sellers to move down and sell again, initiate more shorts, right? So here is where they're short from. You're starting to see no initiated selling here. A little bit of inventory correction. We're coming back up to weak volume. So you either want to see no buying or you would like to see some selling. And what the selling will look like is the volume will start to give you this. A little bit of that, right? So as it gets back, you want to see it, you want to see them start to smack it on. You are seeing some buying around in the market right here, but it looks like mostly financials getting some green. The VIX is also pulling back a little bit here. Interesting today too is oil. If we take a peek at scale, oil futures are just kind of consolidating too. You know, and this is another thing that we were, pretty spot on about is we assumed that oil wasn't going to come back up and test the highs like everybody was saying, and that it was just going to kind of bounce around for a while until something new comes out, right? Some new sanctions or something new. But we just haven't seen it yet. So you're seeing volume come in up here, right? See how it's starting to give you a little bit of it's going to start to build like that. And then what we'd like to see, if we're going to get continuation, we'd like to see it taper as well. And then, if we get below, that's where you want to see a nice stack of volume come in, showing the willingness for participation. You get that volume here in that low volume area. We trade back where buyers were at, and we see if they are done here. Level looks like 1250 to me. The level that sellers tried to offer, and now they're trying to offer the 14 above. Pretty funny. So above the 14, sellers tried to come in to offer it there. Now you're seeing them hit the 15. You are starting to see sellers move down. A decent spot to look back for would be that 20 level, right? That 20 level, or was it 19? What was it? 50. Looks like on my screen it looks like 19. It's 19. Yeah, 19 to 20 is probably a good spot to look for sellers to move down to try to sell this again. If we start to get back up here where this volume is really thin above the 20, that might be you might get a little bit of a short covering rally up there. The total volume. Total volume is almost 1 million. Seeing a lot of buying in the overall market right here. Like pretty much everywhere, it looks like now. A lot of people selling puts right here too. So but that could probably be a spread. I know sometimes this seems boring, right? Just like sometimes the market just is trading sideways and we're ready for it to do what we want it to do. But a lot of times this is where you can learn the most, right? Especially when you don't have a trade on because you're not really expecting it to go uh any direction. So you can kind of be non-biased and see both sides of the auction. Whereas a lot of times when you're in a trade, you kind of get fixated on your side of the auction, right? If you're a buyer, you're looking at, oh, look at these buyers coming in right here. And if you're a seller, you're like, oh, look at these sellers coming in right here. It's it's you know, it's something that everybody has to do. You know what I mean? It's like watching game film. You know, it's not mandatory. It's not optional when you're on a professional sports team to not watch game film. It's just not. If you skip practice and that's one of the practices is normally game film. Normally, like at least in football, we do like Monday practice would be like weight room and game film, right? And so for the game film, if you're not there, you know, it's not going to go over well with the coach. And in this case, you know, the difference here is that you're your own coach. You're the coach. You're the owner. I mean, you get to pick everything. You get to pick the coach. You get to pick the players. They just all happen to be you, right? So you kind of get to pick them, and good for you because you got to pick yourself. The issue is enforcing the rules against yourself. So if you don't show up to game film, if you don't do your trade plan, do you have the self-discipline to make yourself sit out for the first quarter or to sit out for the whole game, you know, and the game being the market, the cash session of the market, that's going to be up to you, right? Um, I you know, didn't do my trade plan last night and I'm mostly just watching. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Doesn't you don't need to make it all today. Sometimes it's good to just watch the auction happen, even when it's slow, just to see how it acts. Because remember, the market, even though a lot of people are assuming that everything is getting traded by computers, it's just not. Um, it's just that computers don't have the ability to understand some of these markets. They know if then type of scenarios, not what that means in other supply chains, right? So there's some algos that get triggered if the CPI is low. There's some algos that get triggered if the CPI is high, but they don't really, there's not algos reading into that report. Those algos are there more as a protection measure for people when they're away from the market, because typically a lot of these reports come out when the market is not open, right? And that's why those algos are there. But during the cash session, mostly people trading here, and if we can understand the emotion in the market, which is the auction, we can get on the right side of it. Apple's down 1%, Microsoft's down 1%, Google's 3%, Amazon's almost down 2%, Tesla's still green but 0.8, Facebook down 1.7, Nvidia down 1.6. And this is kind of why I'm not as convinced that the downside is going to be maybe, I mean, we've gotten down a pretty decent amount, but I don't know how much strength they have. And it kind of looks like people are selling calls on Apple here too. But not really, there's not really a lot of put buying.
The dip in Apple is actually falling off. It used to be 1.3 almost, and now it's just barely 1.
Yeah, they're popping back up a little bit. See if we can get this break of one time framing here. That'll kind of give us a little bit of insight on these the strength of these sellers. And this is that area, that 19 to 20 that we're looking. If we get too much above this, this is where I figured we'd probably get a little bit of short covering. And it is. So if someone takes the stops, look for initiated buying at the impulse, which is at the 20. Still holding above. Buyers still stepping up. Still watching the 20, right back down to it. There it is. Sellers selling it again. There it goes. Buyers are just giving up here. They're buying right there. Nothing real serious. TLT's climbing today. Still red though, but up to 120 and a quarter. The holding so far. Starting to see a little bit of green here in Apple. The Nasdaq's turning green a little bit here. More buying. So there's a key point in the auction right there, right? So we talked about 19 to 20 being kind of this level where we're looking for them to reoffer. They did reoffer, right? Price came down, G period opened up, came up with some steam. They tried to sell it, but buyers stepped up. Somebody bought the stops. We came back down, tested it, initiated selling, didn't come back in this time. Buying was able to just capture, and now we're getting a little bit of continuation to the upside here. And I mean, it's just the selling just doesn't seem as strong as it did yesterday. Gold's down 0.5% too, though. Still, it's like the whole market's just getting clapped. Up the VIX. So that buyer's still there, or no, that was short covering. Actually. A lot of short covering. Energy sector's going green. There's not very many names green right now. Dow, so Booking, LMT, IBM, UPS, AVGO, Tesla. In the top 100, that's only green out of 100. Oh, starting to see some good buying here in the market. They've got here. This is kind of a resistance point. It looks like buyers are trying up here and haven't been able to get the juice yet. Really thin volume here, and we might start to see seeing a little bit of short covering already, but we might start to see a little rip of short covering if buying keeps coming in the market like it is right now. Watch for selling off that E half back, that 2450. Yeah, there's just buying all over the market. People are buying gold. There's a 2450. Look for a little bit of selling here. We won't get shocked if there is. Let's see if they've got the juice to kill these single prints here. Remember, this is just a fade here. Like we haven't, we're pretty far below the open. So this trade, you still want to just assume it's a fade. So if you are in this trade, you can probably move your stop up to be kind of protect yourself. But I would still leave my take profit up just in case there is a short covering rally. I have my take profit. I only have one lot left. I have my take profit up at 33. And my stop's at 24 now, so I'm locked in. Locked in. Like they might try to buy again 23. Microsoft's gonna... I'm out of that trade now. So no, I mean, nice little fade trade. Remember, watch that 20 and 19 level if it comes back down to there for that same spot, right? This is a spot where either they're going to get initiated selling or the buyers are going to step back up. Let's we just opened G about 8 minutes ago, so we still got some time before we start to build price on. And remember, an early cessation of one time framing just means that we'll probably start to get a little bit choppy. G is a pretty early in the session for it to break. But we do have, the downside obviously values to the downside. The market's pretty much been one time framing until G period, so the downside's still the right side, which is why I was trying to make sure that you guys know that that's a fade. And then watch the auction right here, guys. This is the spot. And if I say guys, don't like it because you're not guys, blame California because we call everybody dude and man and guy. Bitcoin's coming back down here. Bonds are coming down a little bit. Energy sector's coming down a little bit. Starting to see some more selling in the weighted sectors here. Nasdaq's almost at a 4% negative breath. Or a 4-to-1 negative breath, I mean. Well, the selling doesn't look very strong right here to me, though. Yet, at least. And so here's another key thing when you see stuff like this, right? This thing traded up, closed the singles, and then traded right back down. So imagine as this is coming down, these singles that were in E period, what's happening here is that liquidation, right? I know it's a terrible L, but a liquidation of all these buyers. So people start racing to the door, racing to the door, racing to the door. The market continued down though, and you have people. Remember, you have people that are hopeless. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. What, Crispy? But you have people that are just, they'll hold on to a loser forever. And so what happens when this happens, they get close to positive, they start to sell. And that's what causes the market to come back. And so we had some buyers come up here, we had short covering here, and then we couldn't get any continuation because all the buyers started to liquidate, right? They started to say, oh, okay, I'm in the money, let me get out. Myself included, I was one, but I wasn't, holding along before that. I got long at 2250 long at. Not the best fill either, but it was on the way up. But you see what I mean? Like it's not necessarily showing strength. It's just showing that there is enough sellers that are willing to close their positions if this thing starts to come up. So it shows us that our sellers are not as strong as the market is representing today, right? That's what I'm gathering from this part of the auction. You kind of have a double volume distribution down here too, even though the profile doesn't really support it. Oh yeah, yeah. Call everybody dude and man and guy. Yeah, in California. Yeah, I did it at the school the other day with one of my kids. I was in their class and I was like, "What's up, guys?" One of the little girls was like, "I'm not a guy." Shut your little ass up. I didn't say that, but should have probably because her parents probably don't.
So it broke the velo for AMD. And now we get to see if it holds through this.
I'm watching on my.
It looks like it should, but I mean, hell, you never know.
Oh, session volume. All about. They need to get some volume down there. See?
Yeah, the volume kind of sucks. There's like 7 shares being traded back and forth 27 times.
Still, I mean, still holding this downtrend though. Even if it does get a little bit of pop, you might get something like this, like might get a bit of that. It's just that selling is not super strong yet.
I just need some implied volatility because, of course, my option prices
Are
are
those
starting to lag.
Those are dailies?
Yeah.
Getting green all over the board here, except for energy. I should send Courage JD a message. Yo, build me on stream. Come check out my channel. And I could show you how to turn that gamer money into some other money. But you know, a lot of time he invests. There is some decent volume coming in right here. This 89 order, it looks like. If you zoom in on these things on TradingView, they've done a pretty good job at in these things.
Apple's climbing again. Well, I'm sorry, the other way. It's going down again.
Climbing down.
The negative is happening again. It's been negative pretty much all day, but it was like right around 70, and now it's at 0.7. Now it's at like 0.85, 0.83. It's jumping around a bit. It seems like it is starting to edge lower. Praying for that, just saying.
Well, if the market starts getting too much below this 19 quarter with these weak ass buyers here happening, you could see some liquidation. We can tell that you've got some competition down here. These buyers are trying, but we're seeing just kind of this, kind of what we were looking for, right? We wanted to see it come up, we wanted to see it fill in, we wanted to see it taper. So what we'd like to see is as price goes down, we keep getting like this little increase here, and then it starts to taper off once it gets a little bit lower, right? Naturally, because we just haven't been down here yet. Still have about 12 minutes until this next period opens up, and so that's kind of what we're looking here volume wise. You're seeing a bit of a shelf start to form on this 19. The competition is getting, buyers look to be holding the 17 quarter, sellers look to be selling from that 20, 21. We're in like a little bit of a range, 17 to 22 right now. Now you're starting to see some more selling in the weighted sectors here. Apple break. Google's down 3.5% almost. Even if gives you a little bit better picture here. All right, we can see where the volume's at. Moving up now. Starting to get below. There it goes. Starting to see some fear down here. Be careful. Let's see them fill it in. Fill. Just watch for them to try to fill this in. And we've got to be careful for both sides of this auction, right? Because you're looking for kind of continuation on either side. Well, now we're below that cliff, so we're starting to kind of get this down. So if we can get below here, and this is kind of where you saw buyers step in at below that, that's where we could get that that break. And then would we talk about like 3290 would be that level below us. And it looks like Facebook's getting a little smackarooski right now, dropping about 2.5%. Apple's almost down 1% now, 0.9. Looking like they're getting ready to go selling all over the market right here.
Microsoft to dip into.
Microsoft 1.25. Tesla's almost red. They're up barely 0.3. Oh, and we're getting selling all over here.
AMD is below its earlier day low.
Selling's all over too. It's in energy, it's in technology, it's in financials, it's in healthcare, it's consumer staples, it's fucking everywhere. It's an infection.
AMD broke.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Go. There, it's about to break that low. About to stay below that low. Volume is still coming in a little bit here. There's still some buying support down here at this little 1250. If we can get below it, there goes AMD. level down for it. Our red line. There it is. 8509. Probably not going to get there today, but there's opportunity.
It would make it there today. At least I don't think so.
I mean, it came down 93 to, well, yes, I mean, yesterday, even if you go from our line 93 to the low was 89, well, there's $3 right there. It's only
I think that's true.
about $4 down to that 5. Good. But yeah, I agree. Probably not on the front.
Is that short covering that's bringing it back up, or is that?
It looks like a little bit of short covering right there. Yeah, it's pretty thin. I mean, there's some support down here though on this 1275. At 1275, 1250.
Where it's laying out right now?
What's that?
Where it's
Yeah,
hitting
where
right
it's at.
now, you mean?
Yeah, right where it's at right now. And then it looks like the next spot down is the 9. Below the 9, it starts to get a little bit. They spell entrepreneur. It's I was just talking about what I was talking about earlier. Oil's getting a boost here. Gold's getting a boost. Oh, this shit's gonna go down. Uh-oh.
Just saying, you heard it here first. Of course, I am biased, but you know how it is. Ooh, Apple's at 1.15 down.
Yeah, they're catching some speed here. The NYSE breath is a 6.8. Oh.
Microsoft's been pretty leisurely. I think it was at 1.24, I don't know, a half hour ago. So it's kind of, and then now it's at 1.3. So not huge movement on Microsoft.
I think Microsoft got a big order from the military for some tech that they made. Here we go.
Oh, that was a good dip. We're now into the one.
Starting to pick up some volatility.
1.1 down for AMD.
VIX is picking up steam. It's up 14%, up above 26 now. This level below. Some decent volume at the 429.80, but then we have the previous highs 4289. Looks like a decent spot. Honestly, 4282 is a level that I like to the downside from here. 420.8250. How you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention. Name that movie. Misco. Hey, am I playing the 4300 reversal? I am not, my friend. I'm not. No, I'm not I'm not much of a gambler, to be honest with you. I've been trading pretty much to the short side. I did take a long during the G period, was just a fade from well, we saw the buyers 19 to 20, but I got kind of a shitty fill. I had a chase, got filled at 22 and then out at 24. That's the only long trade I've taken. I'm not really a huge fan of taking a long trade yet. I mean, if we start to see no selling down here with this poor low, but I mean, really, we've got a lot of resistance above, right? We saw a lot of resistance in this kind of 20 area, and we didn't see much strength up here above 20 when we had buyers had an opportunity to initiate, but they just decided to liquidate instead. So not much follow through. The ES is breaking the low from earlier, but Bitcoin's not. Look at oil too. Tick's not making a lower low right here either. Selling is stronger though. There's definitely more selling right here than there's been all day, for sure. Apple's almost down. Apple is down 1.25 here. Tesla's barely hanging on to green, up 0.14. Procter Gamble's barely holding on to green. Oh, there's some buyers there. Bit of buying there. So that's twice we've come down and not tick that bottom tick, right? Like I said, that bottom tick has 31 contracts on it. Well, this time it has 31 contracts on it, and we haven't got any follow through. There wasn't like that spurt of volume like we talked about, right? We were looking for it to break the low and then just get like kind of a nice chunky volume, which would show initiated selling below the low. We just haven't got that yet. Once we're able to establish below this the prior Fed move, I think maybe there's some opportunity. Remember, it is Friday too, and a lot of people want to hold over the week. What's the Misko? What's the 4300 reversal? What's that? What's the play there? Morning, Caesar. We're starting to see a reoffer of the 1250 here. You kind of see like these ledges in volume form, just showing absorption down below. All right, Patrick, you have a nice weekend as well. It's in my buy zone where I try to look for longs. It's a round number. That's not a bad play. And if we, if we look back, we could do something kind of interesting here. Take a peek at. Yeah, let's quick. Change this to apply it. Easier to look. Now we're on a weekly profile, and if we're coming back into this, I hate how it doesn't seem. Okay, so we're coming back into these kind of previous weeks, and I'll pull up another chart here so we can see it a little bit easier. Small. So we can kind of see on these are the weekly profiles here, or the weekly bars here. You see where a lot of the acceptance has been. And so we're kind of in this bottom area where if we break this level, you can see these are trapped. I mean, they were trapped. The market's cleaned up now, but they were just kind of getting trapped right here during this week, right? And then the market ended up trading up a little bit and then kind of settling here and then trading down the next week. So we can kind of assume the buying in this area from about 42.88 to 42.70 isn't going to be the best. What we are seeing right here appears to be buying off of that previous week's high, right? So there is some value here, and I don't want to discount that, but it does seem like people are like, oh, this was a previous high, I'm going to buy it, right? Because, you know, a previous high must have to act as support. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm a little bit cautious about, right? Just something to note. Not that it's going to play out either up or down, but just something to note. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Misko. Like, there is opportunity here for sure. It's just a matter of, you know, getting that timing right, because sometimes that's what gets us. We get our timing wrong and get wrecked. We're right and wrong at the same time. That, like, you know, just the word, right? We get back above 19 though. I mean, that H high seems mechanical too, right at that F half back, even though it's not the pre. Crazy when you think about like how many followers that Courage JD has, that guy that killed us on the game. 3.68 million people follow him on YouTube. That's just crazy. A little bit of buying coming in the market here. Gold and TLT is getting sold off. Volume starting to slow down here too, ever since, what is this, E period. Oh, Misko, really? That's cool. Yeah, let me post. I run a Discord. A what? I'll be right back. 1 second. Sorry, some chickens just flew into our backyard. But yeah, join that Discord, and then just introduce yourself, and if you have any questions, definitely check it out. Um, I've been trading for probably almost 13 years, but full time for an income about like 3 years now. Because I just retired out of the military, so time has been kind of the issue really. But yeah, join that Discord, and yeah, we'll show you how to trade value. And if you haven't had much experience, that's honestly the best thing, And I've taken my dad actually, who just started trading probably, what would you say, 4 months ago? Was it December? I think it was December. He had no trading experience, so really no bad habits or anything, but October, okay, October, and so that's about 6 months now, and he's on, he's a funded trader. He has about $200,000 worth of funded money that he gets to trade every day. So it's pretty cool. And we've got a lot of other funded traders in here, a lot of other traders that are just trading on their own accounts and doing well. So good community where we're all about learning. So welcome. Getting back below that 9 here, that 950. Selling starting to pick up heavy here. You just got to be careful for follow through. We need to see some volume start to accumulate down here below this 07. That's what we want to see. I'd like to see these numbers start to stack up. If we look at the flex, right, we're starting to see this. What I was talking about, the selling wasn't as strong. If we compare it to yesterday, you can see that the weighted sectors like the tech sector let us down yesterday. Well, now it's kind of just in balance. The market's just kind of going down, almost at 7% negative, or 7-1 negative breadth on the Nasdaq, the NYSE, almost 4-1 on the Nasdaq. See pretty much every sector is red, especially if we go over here, look at the map. I mean, you could see how many names are green right here, and it's not very many. We got EA's green, Tulio's, or was that Tulio, SVB, Kimberly, Clorox, can't say that one, North Group, Lockheed Martin, and L3. So a bunch of defensive kind of issues.
North Group, is that Northrop Grumman?
It is North Group Gunman. Yep.
Northrop, okay. They're the ones that, make planes.
Yeah.
Well, for
Yeah.
military.
Yeah. And ammunition and like that. So there goes the break. So we're looking for volume to come in down here. Yeah. You can just sense like the emotion in the market here with every time we break a low, we kind of pop back. There we go. That now we're getting some selling down here. That's what we wanted to see. There's our chunk. Get some continuation down to that. What are we looking for? Well, look for the 4,300, right? That's going to be a psychological number. You've got about 718 contracts sitting on that level. So that would make sense that they can try to support it here a little bit. And it is, a mechanical level, which we know that a lot of retail traders are looking to buy it, right? They're like, oh, 4,300. It's an easy to see number, right? How does this red mouse like disappear sometimes? Bitcoin's not breaking its low yet, and I'd like to see it. There we go. Tracks trading. A little bit of absorption here. Buyers are trying to support this 375. It looks like. I'd like to see Bitcoin break this low, honestly. That would give, I think, a little bit easier time sitting in the short for this ES trade. My stop is on 775 on this short. I am short from 10 though, but I'm not gonna let it come back up above 775 before I get out of here. Nice. Hey, that's what you should post that in the Discord, Dad, so people start to believe it more. That you're easily clearing, you know, I mean, pretty much 200 bucks every single day. And then like yesterday you had a lost day and you're sharing it because I'm sharing it. So you had a lost day yesterday, but your loss was a small loss, right? And you are, you know, it's a tough situation that I've been in before, the same as you, where you're at work and you're trying to trade and there's distractions, especially, you know, both of our jobs were kind of customer service jobs, a little bit, you know, different recruiting to, you know, managing the services, but still it's very like similar aspects when it comes to distractions and things. That's why I understand your pain when you get pissed at work. You're like, I just want to fucking do what I'm doing. I don't need any interruptions, especially ones that are just not necessary. Where's Jared at? He needs to get on TikTok and start TikToking soon. I sent that what's his name, the YouTube streamer Courage JD a message to see if he'll come on, because he's not just a gamer, right? He's more of an entrepreneur. He really kind of pushed the game industry into where it's at now, or I don't know about pushed it, but maybe helped lead it.
And I'm out.
Nice.
That was a lot for $100, but hey, I'll take it.
Hey, $100.
I'm off. I gotta go. Talk to you guys later.
All right, see you later, Uncle. Nice, posted in the Discord chat. Okay. A little bit of buying coming in the market here. Even Bitcoin's getting a little bit of gas. Netflix, Apple, Facebook. Yeah, he was like an OG. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why it was kind of cool that him and Ninja killed us. And he's older too. Like he's more like, you know, around my age, I think. I think he's in his mid 30s. Wasted last hour trying to get Garth tickets. Were you on the like the radio? On in the radio? You didn't miss much. I mean, we had a little short covering rally up in G, and now, you know, we're trading back down below these lows. we're starting to see kind of what we wanted, right? This is what we talked about. We wanted to see the volume kind of, I would have liked to see the volume taper or come in here, but we didn't really get a chance. We're starting to see kind of this volume taper, and then we're getting a little volume chunk down here, which tells me there's some interest, right? Of course, we'd love to just stay below it, but we haven't yet, and we're starting to see it come back. So you look for that 10 to 12 level is like 1250 to see if they offer it up again, right? And we could split like we did earlier. Give, I want to give it one. So you can see where all the volume's at in these 3 periods, this last hour and a half. Oh, Ticketmaster. Here comes I. Mechanical low on I, right to the F low. Sellers look to be struggling down here a little bit. Hell yeah. So only 17 years old. Good stuff, man. That's the best time to start. Wish that wish that I started that young. Really, it would have been more difficult because the internet wasn't what it is today. Electronic trading wasn't what it is now. It wasn't as easy just to log onto the computer and place a trade yourself. You just had to make phone calls or turn off your house phone to get on the internet. Tesla's holding strong here, up almost. I mean, it's actually kind of gassing here. Getting a little bit of steam off this low. And we kind of see on Tesla, we're forming a P profile, right? So we actually opened up, looked below, but then came back up. So probably a lot of short covering up here. So Tesla has a potential to break to the upside, right? We know that P profiles sometimes break to the upside and can start to cause a short covering rally. But the rest of the market is not looking great. We're getting 7.4 negative 7.4 to 1 on the New York Stock Exchange. Selling's getting a little bit lower here though. Sellers struggle. Can't even have his own account yet. Nope, not yet. But I mean, you can open up like an investment account and still just learn. You got a year, well, I don't know when your birthday is, but whenever your birthday is, you got a year of just paying attention to the auction. And so that, that's kind of what we're after here, is paying attention to the auction and where value is going. We tend not to focus on price because price is just an advertising mechanism that tricks retail traders into making poor decisions. And this is kind of what we talked about yesterday. You know what I mean? With the TVs, imagine if this is an auction. I mean, not imagine if it's an auction, but imagine you're in an auction for over computer monitors, right? I like to use computer monitors because everybody knows about computer monitors. And imagine today they're selling it for 100, or yesterday they were selling it for 100, and now today they're selling it for 50. Well, what does an average retail trader do? They buy it, right? They're like, oh shit, it's half off. Let me just scoop it up, right? But a smarter person would pay attention to this auction and understand, okay, well, there's got to be a reason that it's marked down at 50. What's the deal? Why is it marked down at 50? Am I actually getting a good deal? And that's kind of what's happening on the market today, right? The market's down, a pretty significant amount, and especially compared when we look back to yesterday, right, all the way up from, what is this, 45.09, and the low today is, where's the, not 45, was, and then the low 43.06. So we're down about 200 points in the past 2 days, so that's a pretty significant amount, and people are trying to decide, is this a fair price for me to pay, right? Is this a fair price for me to buy into the market at? And that's what that's the big question. That's the $1 million question. Ooh, Tesla just turned red, dude. Tesla got hammered red. Damn, look at, flipped right around. Tesla was kind of the only thing really being in the market, to be honest. We got UPS that's still green. IBM is barely green. LMT, SO, FDX. That's the top 100 right there. So we've got in the top 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks that are green out of the top 100. That's not ideal, I imagine. Let me see on the 500. There's 37 out of 500 that are green right now. So, it doesn't seem ideal. And so now we're looking to see if we can get this to play out, right? We got our kind of volume tapering, it tapered off, got our chunk. Now we're looking to get below it. And the reason that we look for a chunk of volume is because you want initiated selling and you want that buying too, because what happens is, eventually one's going to lose or one's going to give up. And that's if we're looking for the downside, which we have been, we're looking for these buyers to liquidate, right? And that's what can give us some downside. We're at a psychological level and we don't really have a huge amount of support below, and we've seen liquidations from this spot before. So only 19 contracts traded on the low, 20 contracts traded on the low right now. And this is kind of the inverse thing that I don't want to see. I want to see these sellers power through this low. What I don't want to see happen is start to see it get this a little taper up, and then price comes up here, and then we start challenging that 12 again. Tesla's still going down though. Apple's down almost 1.5, Microsoft 1.3, Google's down 3.25, Amazon 2.25, Tesla's down 0.3, Facebook 2%, Nvidia 2.5, Visa 2.5, MasterCard 2.25. I still have a little over 1.5 years of high school, and I think I'll be persistent a decent amount of time to become more consistent and profitable. Dude, you definitely will. 100%. It's just a matter of utilizing your time in the right way, right? You've got to focus on school because school is important, especially graduation of high school. But you've also got to manage your time, and not feel the peer pressure from a lot of kids your age. Already congratulations. Actually, like kind of what are you doing on the stream? Unless you're not in the United States, you should probably be at school. But a lot of your friends are going to be encouraging you to waste time playing fucking video games all hours of the day, or doing things that are just not productive. There's a break of the low, looking for the liquidation. Go, keep it going. Watch for the 4,300 to get a little bit of bouncing, right? Nice psychological number. $67 contracts straight on the low, 25 on the low tick now. Still climbing. 86 on the low tick. We've got 675 contracts sitting on the 00 here. Watch how they trade real quick. Yeah, a little bit of front running of that 4,300 there. Mechanical. But yeah, man, I mean, you've got a step ahead of a lot of your peers, I think. A lot of people that are your age are not really focused on the long term. They're focused on, right now. They want shit right now. But, if you can understand that that's just not how life works and it takes time, and there goes. They're still sitting there. They are reloading that fucking 0-0. Um, but you've got definitely a leg up, so keep doing what you're doing. And if you like to read, or if you like to do Audible, there's a ton of books that we've posted in the Discord that are really good books to start up, especially when you're young. $24 contracts on that low down there. We get back up above this 03, I think I might close and then try another short from above somewhere. I don't like this thin volume right here. If we get above that thin volume, I want to try to jump out and then try a different spot up higher. Bitcoin's not breaking the low though, so kind of interesting. Do I think CF is a good trader or a degen gambler? I don't know enough about him really to make a statement. I think he's a good entrepreneur because he got a lot of people to buy Market Cipher, right? I think that's smart. Um, you know, but I mean, I've heard lots of stories about him. I just don't know about him, so it's tough to say, is he a good trader? I've heard like that he doesn't know shit, and that his brother is the one who knows all the good trades, so he's just taking all of his brother's trades. Um, I don't know. I'm evolving, and I don't really want to speak bad about someone that I just don't have enough information about. I don't even, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if any of the trades that he shows are real. I have no idea. You know, it's pretty easy to edit what a web page looks like. Just ask my uncle. I'm sure he can do it um, fairly easily. So, um, you know, if he knows about coding, he's probably a pretty smart guy. And so, if if he's able to do things like that, or if he's smart and good with numbers, he could be a great trader. I don't know. I don't think Market Cipher is worth it. Two things you know for sure. He's not a trader. He's a fantastic salesman. Yeah, I mean, and you can't knock a hustle. It's just, you know, a matter of morals. And if you were to get like me and my older brother, when it comes to selling shit, you know, I've got a little bit more morals, and I care about people more than he does. That's for yeah, he's always in a trade before he goes live. Yeah. Yeah. He probably gets in a lot of trades, and then once he gets the big winner, then boom, let me turn the stream on. I don't know. We reached out to him and sent him an email early on to see if he wanted to learn the TPO, and never heard anything back. We heard back from BitBoy, and he basically told us SAD. So that was awesome. And then we reached out to a couple of other crypto people to try to get them to start utilizing the profile for trading because it works so well. But it was some crypto girl that I have no idea who she was, and then there's like another crypto dude um who like looks like he's in his mom's basement. He's like always on a beanbag chair or something like that. Yeah, I'm wondering about Bitcoin right here too. You know, the key thing here is that we're not getting a lot of volume below, so you're not getting a lot of this selling, and we're building one of these cliffs. And so when we see stuff like this, right, we see kind of this tapering of volume. We know there's, you know, selling here for sure, right? Obviously we're smacking against it, but this makes this reference very weak, right? And so you can see where a little bit of sellers got busy here. That would be the spot maybe to reshort if it's gonna, if it does get a little bit of a pop, and then push that down right there underneath of that 40K. And then, I mean, we see all the volume on the 40K naturally, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Is it going to come back up there? You know, no way to know for sure. And if buyers can't get it up, then what we want to see is that we want to see, you know, I'm not a huge fan of like when volume just as it gets lower, it just really cuts off. So I'd really like to start to see this form more like a chunk here, and start to see this volume start to fill in a little bit as we're spending more time down here, but we just haven't seen that yet. If this is your first time in the stream, wherever you're watching the stream from, you know, comment in the chat, let us know who you are, say what's up, join the Discord, learn how to understand the market auction, which is what we're looking at on this screen, and you know, and kill it. Get motivated. This Pop is ready. He's in here motivated and just fucking everybody. Okay, but Jason Casper loves the TPO. Jason was very grateful. Oh, okay. That's weird because when I first talked to him about the TPO, he was like not about it. He was still all about Market Cipher. But that's cool. You know, he's evolving, and that's why, you know, I never had real. I've never, well, someone in our group did, but I didn't have anything against Jason Casper. I just didn't, you know, didn't know much about him. But he showed openness. He actually messaged me and said he wanted to be in the boot camp. Um, I don't know if he joined the Discord though. I sent him a message, um, the Discord. But you know, it definitely shows evolution, right? And that's the thing is he never said anything bad about the TPO. Jason Casper did. He never did say anything bad. He just didn't know much about it. And you know, now that he now that he knows it, you know, using it and probably happy. On BTC, I'm short from the top of this dump, taking 80% profits, a little volume, no above would be a good place to add. Yeah, Cam, I think the same thing. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, TPO TPO is a natural progression. It's kind of backwards though. It'd be better to learn the TPO and then incorporate the volume profile with the TPO because it gives you a lot more clearer signals because sometimes volume can be deceiving. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And hopefully he's trading well. I know he like lives on a farm and shit, so he does a lot of homesteading. Yeah, Misko, it is. It really is just it's such a tough balance. You should check out a couple of the books, like Atomic Habits or Thinking Fast and Slow. It definitely helps with things like that because I do a lot of, I mean, not really school, but I'm always trying to learn something new. I mean, I get to make my own schedule now, so I'm not really kind of constricted to like you are with school, and probably your parents kind of dictate a little bit of what you do, um, which makes it a bit more difficult. But if you're out there just killing it as a kid, just show your parents like, hey, look what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. They should be supportive. Coming back down to the OO here, there's still about 300 contracts sitting on there. Yeah, we'll probably end up teaching another boot camp once I get over to the west or the east coast. I'm moving to the east coast this summer. Once I get over there and all set up, we'll start up a new boot camp and we'll run it. Um, what I've kind of decided to do and what I think is probably going to be the best idea is I'm going to have a recorded version, which is that one's almost done, and I'll release that. But a live one is just so much better because of the questions. I really enjoyed doing the live one, especially because we got to not only meet or not only like get questions right away, and so you get to ask the question as it pops into your head and not have to ask later, but also we get to actually meet the people that are in the Discord. A lot of times Discord, we know people by their Discord name, you know what I mean? um and in here we get to know each other a lot by like real names and see faces, and so it's kind of cool. It's like building friends. I definitely got some places to stop when I get over to Europe here. uh it cools off. Got to get out to Ireland, see some people. Got to get out there to the Netherlands to see Ferdy. Got to get out to England to see Tommy. Got to get out to France to see Double R. Just get all around there. Get to Germany, show my daughter where she was born at. Yeah, and that's the thing is, yeah, we never had anything against. Well, I never had anything against him. You know what I mean? Yeah, C138, and then he switched it to C130, and then yeah. And Ramon's still in the Discord, and I actually talk to Ramon all the time. Yeah, Australia. I would love to get to Australia once you guys get out of that, fucking military lockdown that you guys seem to be stuck in. No, I heard it's getting better over there. The Aussie dollar is actually doing pretty good. I was looking at the Aussie dollar yesterday. Dollar. Not too good today. They were having a nice pop for a while. But they're gonna maybe get to a little bit short, but we'll market it all around. Getting careful with this low, guys. Life's back to normal now. Nice, that's good. I know you guys were dealing with it so hard for a while. Yeah, Clipper, if you talk to uh Jason Casper and he wanted to come on or learn more, just tell him Well, that's what we're all about, is just helping people. You know, he kind of has that that lifestyle that, you know, I think a lot of people are searching for. You know, he lives on a farm, selling all over the market right here. Oh, high vax rates. Yeah. I wonder if cryptochemist got the vaccine. Wondering. Heard from him in a while. Still getting volume down here. And remember, if it starts to slip, we're looking for that 89 we said, right? Uh-oh. Getting ugly. What do we say? 89.50, and then I like that 42.82.50. That's my target. 42.82. That's what I'd like to see. That 42.89 quarter-ish area. 42.89 looks like a spot where we might see some buying as well. School, work, death. That's rough, man. Where are your parents from? It's 11. Work out. In here. Yeah, of course, Flipper. Always. Yeah, I have nothing against it, dude. We did a co-stream one time, way back in the day, me, him, and Ramon. It was pretty fun. Oh, you're in the Czech Republic? Okay. Get to be the first million of your family, hell yeah. Just not depressing not having anyone to talk to. Well shit. Welcome to the trade vets, bro. Talk to us. People will be active if you're active, you know. We've got a community of people that like to help. So you're you're in the perfect bracket to absorb information, new information. I got a little brother who's 22, and you know I'm trying to help him absorb real information, and he's like, no, I want to buy a charger. I'm like, well, you're fucked because you're broke. He's like, I need you to co-sign. Fuck no. I'll co-sign for a car that's gonna last, but gonna support a bad habit, a bad idea, period. Volume is just coming on. You're starting to see fear just take over here. Coming down pretty close. If we look on the daily here, um, you see that trend off that February low. coming close to that trend. Not saying that it's, you know, if it does break this trend that it's going to be you know, catastrophic. Really, we're still in that previous month's balance, but we are, if you look on the monthly, we finally broke that middle of that range, and so that next target down really for sellers would be that 41.52 on a monthly range, and we're what, 22 days into the month. There's still opportunity left for the market to push down there. That just kind of leaves it open, you know what I mean? Oh, is that what he looks for a lot, divergences? Yeah, and so when you start to learn about divergences, unfortunately, a lot of technical traders don't bring the auction into the divergence. And if they did, it would just give them so much confluence. So yeah, that would be actually pretty cool because he's probably a lot more versed in divergences than I am. Really, I only look at a couple of things for divergence, the CVD and the SMI. So, but I mean, the if he uses that market cipher, it's basically like every momentum indicator that you can think of mashed into one. So he's probably pretty used to seeing divergences on there. And it really is like, you know, it really is just time. Oh. Yeah, Cam. I do look at those. Yes. Any naked POCs, yeah. They're targets, right? So when we're looking at stuff like this, like let's find one. I don't think this one um draws them, but so we have a naked point of control right here, right? This point of control hasn't been back tested since this day started. So it becomes a spot where the market was valued before. So if price trades down to it, you look for it, especially because we're inside this day's value, right? And that's kind of what we're paying attention to, value. We're looking for value to shift lower. And if it's going to come down, test this point of control. If you don't get a strong reaction off of the point of control with inside of a previous value, typically we'll trade to the opposite side of that, and then maybe below her, but that's typically how value works because we're coming back to a previous spot where price was accepted and then traded higher. So yeah, I like to look at those. And the same thing, like let's say the market rallies up, comes to this let's say tomorrow maybe, point of control, maybe it rallies up today and comes to this point of control, you can look for rejection there, right? You look for acceptance or rejection at these points of control. This BTC had, oh, okay. Yeah, this one right here. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great trade that you have. And I honestly, like I said, you've already taken 80%. There's not really a huge reason to not just let it chill, you know what I mean? Let it just grind itself down. We've got the ES breaking down. We've got a lot of other things breaking down. You know. Even like so, even gold's getting smacked down 1%, oil's getting smacked down 1% and over 1.5%. I mean, there's just like, things are just getting smacked all over. So we're coming down to that 89, right? This is a level we expect to see possible reaction. Can I suggest a good read on the TPO? Yes, I can, my man. Let me pull it up. Post this link for you in the chat. This is a 6-part study guide to the market profile. It's long, but worth it. And then if you get a chance to pick up any of Jim Dalton's books are, fantastic reads. I think with books like that, at least for me, because I like to mark inside of them, yeah, the CBOT. I like to mark inside of them. So I would buy them. Jim Dalton's books are like they're like $50 each, but I mean it's a book that you can read and read and read and read and read a million times. It's just such good information. And because Jim has so much life experience, you know, he was the president of the CBOT. His brother's still the president of the CBOT. I think, you know, he just has so much experience. He wasn't the creator of the market profile, but was kind of the person that brought it to light because of the position that he was in. And you know, he just has such a good understanding. And honestly, if you ever get a chance to take his intensives, I would definitely recommend it. It's a little bit pricey. I think his intensive, the last one was like $1,200, but it was worth it, you know. I mean, I I like to take his um intensives all the time, honestly. He's just really good mind, and he's getting older, and so you know you got to take advantage of uh you know chatting with him when you can. Well, coming down to that 89.50, that was our first look. You've read it 10 times. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. You just power through it and keep powering through it. And then, uh, you know, as you guys are going through these books or as you guys are going through anything really, be like, hey, what's this like? You know, because sometimes it's hard to understand it in the text. Um, just post it for me and I'll try to explain it in a way that's different than those books. You know what I mean? The same, you know, you're going to get the same core concept, but just a more relatable um simile, or you know, something easier to relate, because Jim's books are a little bit old, right? His books are a little bit dated. But I mean, really, Jim's got it down, to be honest, when it comes to understanding the auction. And he's funny too, because he hates when people are looking for trades. He gets all pissed. And then, like, if you ask him a question that's like a trade looking question, he'll just ignore it. And he'll get pissed and like tell you that you're an idiot and then ignore it. But he's a lot more chill now than he used to be, apparently. At least from like a, you know, a couple of people have known him back in the day, which makes sense. If he's the president of the CBOT, you know, he's probably a pretty forward type of guy. But I am gonna have to end it here. It's 11 o'clock. We've gone a little bit longer today. As much as I'd love to spend all day with you guys today, I've got my wife has got a day off today, so you know we're gonna enjoy the day, even though the weather's kind of shit. Um, hang out and stuff. Um, for the rest of the day, yeah, thank you, Kim. You have a good weekend as well. For the rest of the day, you know, we're one time framing down. It's the market's got a lot of work to do. It's got to get back up above this 975 in order to stop one time framing, and then it still has to battle at this kind of 1250 area where we saw the big selling start. I'm not a huge fan of this I high, right? Seems mechanical off of that H half back, and I'm not a huge fan of this H high, as it just doesn't seem, it seems suspicious. I'm just not, I just don't really like it for some reason. It just rubs me the wrong way. So, you know, we want to be cautious down here, but we definitely got to prepare for a possible big push of short covering at the end of the day going into the weekend. You know what I mean? Thanks, Misco. I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's all. I mean, that's everybody here. We're all here to help each other out, and you know, hopefully next year, you know, we'll see more people in Vegas when we go meet up. And hopefully, you know, hopefully some of these global conflicts cool down by then. Danny, you have a great weekend too. Caesar, you as well. Thank you guys. I know you're not much of a fan of trade patterns. If you don't hold this low, we would be forming potential inverse head and shoulders. Markets back 44.50. It's not that I don't like them. It's I don't really pay attention to them. I mean, I just I just don't think the probabilities are there. I mean, there is good odds. Are we? Is it? Are you talking on the daily chart? Um, Trin, you have a good weekend too. Adam, thank you. Have a good weekend. Okay, I see. I see. Like this. Do the other shoulder. It would go the length of the neckline, right? 6, 2, 6, or what'd you say? 42.5? Yeah, 42.5, 42. Yeah, it's getting. All right, Tommy, have a good weekend. Yeah, I mean that could it could you could see it play out. I mean, I could still see these lows were still strong to me. It's just that really what's going on in the market is just kind of crazy. And then also with with um Bitcoin getting so much more attention, it wouldn't surprise me to see one more slip that doesn't break this low and then another rebound. Because when you really look at this is 30-minute daily. When you really look at this, we still haven't we have this kind of meteoric rise, and then made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low so far, right? In a bigger scheme of things, right? I mean, I'm sure there's little nuances that we could draw inside here, but that's kind of what I'm paying attention to it, and I'd like to see, and this is drawn through the on the 30 minutes, so you can see the dailies a little out of whack, but I'd like to see us continue up this trend, and it would make sense if it does. What I'd really like to see, honest with, is I'd like to see us hold our level, this 39,136, and I'd like to see it pop up above these. These sellers come in and get trapped, and it gets back below 50. Everyone's like, Bitcoin's going to crash again because every time it gets below 50, it crashes, and they get trapped right here. And a little bit of that. This. But yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. I think there's a possibility here for sure. And then what you guys should be doing here too, now that we're getting a lot of these, and that must be, this is the Bitcoin futures. See that yesterday. Look at the Bitcoin futures and add the volume on these as well. We try to keep this. Well, actually, we can just go to this one. 30 minutes. Sometimes it's good to get everything off of your chart and just look at the chart. You know what I mean? It's like analysis paralysis. But we can look at this here We could even look at it on that here. All right, peace out, Pop. Catch you later. On. And so we can smash these together real quick. You can see where the selling is at, right? I mean, we're already starting to see it, but I don't really need to smash it in anymore. So when we had this break, this is that liquidation break from balance down into a new balance. You can see when the market did try to go above where the selling came in, right here around 41.5, 41.6, which happens to be your target. So I think that that could definitely be a possible setup. There's a lot of confluence. And we know B profiles, right, which is today's profile. A lot of times a B profile is a representation of liquidation. So if you don't, if we don't keep getting continuation, and you're seeing like all these stops are lined up right here on Bitcoin, if you don't get continuation on a B profile to the downside, a lot of times what happens is you start to form this 45-degree angle off the low to the low point of control, and the market breaks to the upside. You know, so, and you can see this E. This just looks like, I mean, this looks like where resistance at, right below the 40, right below the 40. So if short covering comes up, should probably come up to here, maybe hang out and then test back up to that 45. You might have to sit through some of this though if you're looking for that. And it's a weekend too, so it's going to be tough. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Make sure if you are going to trade that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. Make sure if you don't have a trade plan, you make a trade plan. If you have, if you don't know how to make a trade plan, look through the old videos that we posted one where we just started from the ground up and went through our daily trade plan and how we set it up. Definitely a good watch, or just ask questions in the Discord. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you guys later.